All right, let's dive into one of the most direct and honestly powerful invitations you can find in the entire Bible. It's this incredible promise that was born out of a moment of total crisis. But you'll see, it speaks so directly to our lives today. This is all about the power packed into Jeremiah chapter 33, verse 3.
You ever have that feeling? It's a strange modern problem, isn't it? We've got maps, AI, basically the world's entire library of information sitting right there in our pockets, but we can still feel completely, utterly lost. I mean, whether you're trying to find your way through a new city or just trying to navigate a tough life decision, all that tech, it just doesn't seem to have the one answer we really truly need.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at the invitation itself, what I like to call a direct line to God. Then, we'll get real about the biggest thing that stops us from using it, and that's pride. After that, we'll unpack what it actually means to be qualified to make that call. And finally, we'll get to the best part, the incredible promise of what happens when we actually do it.
So let's get right to the heart of it. This is so much more than just some ancient text. I want you to think of it like a divine phone number, and it's being offered directly to you. And that number? It's Jeremiah 33:3.
I mean, just listen to that. Notice how simple and yet how huge this promise is. It's not, send me a message and maybe I'll get back to you. No. It's a direct command with a guaranteed outcome. Call and I will answer. And the answer isn't just a simple little fix. It's a promise to reveal things that are way beyond what we can even wrap our heads around right now.
Now, to really get this, you have to understand the context. This promise wasn't given while Jeremiah was on some peaceful mountaintop retreat. Not at all. He was literally locked up in a courtyard prison. His city, Jerusalem, was surrounded by enemies. It was a moment of absolute despair, just complete hopelessness. And it's right into that darkness that God speaks this incredible invitation.
So if this amazing invitation is out there, why don't we use it more? I mean, really? Well, it usually comes down to one very human and very powerful barrier: our own pride.
The source for this whole explainer shares this really powerful personal story. He was in Kyoto Station, and if you've ever been there, it's this massive, sprawling complex. We're talking more than 20 different bus platforms. He had his phone, he had the directions, but he was just completely overwhelmed, trying to get to a funeral and feeling totally lost in the crowds.
He knew he needed help, but he hesitated. You know that feeling, right? That little bit of pride, the embarrassment of having to admit you have no idea what you're doing. But finally, he just swallowed his pride and walked up to a station guide in a red jacket, and man, it's a good thing he did. Just as he was about to step onto a bus, the guide came running over yelling, "Wait, not that one!" He was literally seconds away from going in the completely wrong direction.
And that whole chaotic station story is just a perfect metaphor for our lives, isn't it? So often, we try to navigate everything on our own terms, with our own little maps and plans. Our pride whispers to us that calling out to God, well, that's a sign of weakness. We think, I got this, I can figure it out myself, all while we're about to step onto the completely wrong bus.
But maybe it's not just pride. For a lot of us, there's this deeper feeling, this nagging thought that says, I'm not good enough to call on God. I mean, what right do I have? I'm just not qualified. Okay, let's tackle that idea head on.
You hear this phrase in the Bible sometimes, being counted as righteous. And it sounds like a moral report card, right? Like you have to be a straight A student to even get a meeting with the principal. But that's not it at all. In the original context, it's actually an accounting term. It has way less to do with being perfect and everything to do with your account balance. It literally means your debts have been cleared.
Think of it like this, like a spiritual bank account. Because of our mistakes and mess-ups, what the Bible calls sin, we all start out with a negative balance. We're in the red. But through God's grace, this infinite deposit gets made into our account. The debt is paid in full. And just look at what happens. Our balance flips from negative to positive. And our standing, it goes from unqualified to qualified. Just like that.
And this right here, this changes everything. We don't earn the right to call God by trying really, really hard to be perfect. No, we are given the right to call because He has already settled our account. The qualification isn't something we achieve, it's a gift. It was never about our righteousness, it's about His.
Okay, so we've humbled ourselves enough to ask. We understand that we are totally qualified to call. So we pick up the phone. What kind of answer can we actually expect? Let's look at that second half of this incredible promise.
See, God's answer isn't limited by our tiny little questions. He promises to show us things that are great and unsearchable, things that are completely outside of what we currently know. We're talking about an answer that expands our entire world, not just fixes our immediate problem. It's way, way bigger than anything a search engine could ever spit out.
When you read the rest of Jeremiah 33, God actually spells out what these great things look like. For Jeremiah's city, which was besieged and silenced by fear, God promises this complete restoration, healing for the people, an abundance of peace and truth, and the return of joyful sounds, the voices of a bride and groom, the sound of people singing and giving thanks.
And that's really the bottom line. God's answer to our call is always, always aimed at restoration. He doesn't just want to pull us out of whatever hole we're in. He wants to heal the wounds, rebuild the foundations, and fill that silence with joy and peace all over again.
So that leaves us with this final thought. In a world that so often makes us feel lost and overwhelmed and, unqualified, this ancient invitation is still open. That direct line is available. The question was never, will God answer? The only question is, who will you call to today?